What makes a great leader? I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years, and I had a lot of good leaders and had a lot of bad ones. And I had a lot of people who would get promoted, and then some people would get demoted. And I saw the power structure play out. And it was very interesting to see how people dealt with power. And I think there's one thing specifically that makes God the best leader of all time. It's that he sacrificed his only son to save the human race from sin. Now, essentially, what this boils down to is that God leads by example. He doesn't tell us to do one thing and then does another. He doesn't say, hey, you have to suffer, but I'm going to be okay. How many of you out there would be okay sacrificing yourself for human, or sacrificing not yourself, sacrificing your child for humanity? And I heard a really great story one time. And it was, imagine, it was basically like COVID times 1,000. What would happen if the world got absolutely racked by this virus and it was killing millions, millions, billions of people? And all of a sudden, a doctor came in and they said, hey, we just tested your son and he has immunity. And if we can take his blood, then we could save the world. And you go, okay, well, how much would you need? And they say, that's the problem. We're going to need all of it. How many people would say yes? And not only, oh, we have to save him by drawing out his blood while he's under anesthesia. No, we have to nail him to a cross, scourge him. You'd be like, what are you taught? No, no. You're out of your mind? No, that's ridiculous. But that's what God did. And a lot of people I know say, like, why does God allow human beings to suffer? His own son was not exempt from human suffering. That's the kind of leader that God is. Not only did he allow his own son to be killed, he allowed his own son to be killed in one of the most brutal ways there has ever been to be killed. I don't know if you've ever seen The Passion of the Christ. If you haven't, it really puts into your head the viciousness of crucifixion and the brutality of what Jesus went through. You know, a lot of people see like a pretty cross, a pretty crucifix with Jesus hanging up there, little tiny bits of blood, and it wasn't that. It was brutal. They whipped him and they scourged him. And if God is willing and able to suffer, who are we to say, oh no, I don't deserve that? Well, his son didn't deserve it either. And who are we to question the master's plan? And I think that we would have a better argument if it wasn't for the fact that God allowed his own son to be crucified and humiliated in front of the world to save us. That's how much he loves us. And I believe that's why God is the greatest leader of all time. If you're able to do that, if you're able to lead by example to the point where you're even able to sacrifice your own son and go through that suffering so that you can tell other people, I understand you have to suffer. I get it. I get it. I sacrificed my own son for you. So trust me and do what I'm telling you to do. And lots of times, and I was in the Marine Corps and I never went into combat, but this is one of the rules of going into combat with especially a good leader. You just do what they say. And that is what you do when you actually trust your leader. If he tells you to do something and you trust him and you know that he's not a hypocrite, he leads by example, and he would do what he's telling you to do, but he can't because he has to be the leader, he has to move the pieces, then you go and do it. Because if you don't, your unit is going to get murked. If you don't follow your leader, right? It's either one, because he's a bad leader, or two, because you're a bad soldier. God has proven himself to be a good leader. It's your job to be a good soldier. I think I'm going to leave it with that. God is so good. He's so good. And today is a blessing. So thank him. Say the Our Father. Pray in the way that Jesus taught us in the Sermon on the Mount. And remember, he loves you. And if you're suffering right now, you are not alone. Pray. Talk to God, not in just the good times, but in the bad, especially the bad, especially the bad. God is so good. So form that relationship with him. God bless. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye.